All right, starting on freshly shampoo and blow dried hair, you want to create your desired part. Now, it is important that you are thorough with this, so try to vision how you want your end results to look and create your parting based on that, because this is a minimal leave out sew in, so you won't be able to change your part. Now, the density of your hair does determine how much leave out you should have. So to ensure you have enough hair left out, place the tail end of the comb underneath your hair. And if you cannot see the tail, that's how you know you have enough hair left out. Again, this depends on your density. So the finer your hair is, the more hair you're gonna need left out. And the more dense and thick your hair is, the less hair you're gonna have out. So again, tail comb underneath your hair. If you can see the tail end of the comb, you don't have enough hair. If you cannot see the tail end of the comb, you do have enough hair. The braid down is easily one of the most important parts of your install, but luckily for you, you do not have to be the best braider. You just have to have a solid perimeter. So you want to make a thin part around your leave out and around your perimeter. So starting with the leave out perimeter braid, that is going to actually be 2 braids, one on each side of the leave out. The reason we are making this 2 braids is because we want the same consistency. If we were to make this 1 braid going around the entire leave out, one side will ultimately be thicker, and we don't want that. So just braid each side down, but don't braid it all the way to the end. Just clip it away, because we're going to come back to it later. Now, the first perimeter braid is going to go around all the way to the back of your head. So when you do this braid, you want to braid on the side that's most comfortable to you. I'm left-handed, so it's easier for me to start braiding on my right side. But if you are right-handed, just do the opposite. And by starting on the side that you're most comfortable with, it's going to ensure better range of motion and more control. So by the time you get to the more difficult side of your head, you already are in control of the movements. Now you're going to repeat the same thing on the other side, but the difference is once we get towards the back, we're going to grab the end of the braid we previously did and add it to the braid we're currently doing. And it's as simple as just grabbing it and continuing to braid as if it was loose hair that you were grabbing for the braid anyway. And we're just going to braid that down. So now we're going to go back to those leave out perimeter braids that I told you to clip away. And you're going to make a part down the middle of your head and just put one side away. Then make another part on the opposite side of that for a parting for a braid. Now I know this is a lot, but please pay attention, because this is going to really ensure that your sew in is nice and flat and neat. Now, you want to take the one of your perimeter leave out braids and continue that braid down. Now for the rest of this braid down, you're just going to be braiding straight down and connecting the braids. So braid that down, and as you get about halfway down, you want to take the end of the previously finished braid and connect it with the braid we are currently doing. And the way you're going to do this is you're going to take the end of the previous braid and you're going to put it between your index finger and your thumb, along with the hair that you're already holding, and you're going to continue to braid down. Now, if you did not catch it, we're going to watch it again. You're going to take the braid that we ended with and connect it with the braid we are currently doing by braiding halfway down, grabbing the end of the previous braid, putting it into our thumb and index finger along with the hair we are already holding from the current braid, and continue to braid down. And you're going to continue that method throughout the entire braid pattern. But once we have that one side done, the next side we're going to do the same thing as we did with our leave out perimeter braid. We're going to continue that braid by crossing it over and continuing to braid that down as well. And you are going to do this method throughout the rest of your head. And when you are done, you're going to take the 2 ends, cross them over each other, and sew. And your braid down should look just like this. No, your parts do not have to be straight, and they do not have to be as thin as the perimeter braids. And when you're done, this is what your braid down should look like. So you want to use a deluxe weaving net and not the stretchy one. The stretchy one does not provide the support and sturdiness that you need for a flat sew-in that's going to last. Now, you want to cut that in half because you don't need all of that. And you're going to take the net and wrap it around your head from the back all the way to the front and just clip it to your leave out. That way you can still use both hands and have free range motion. So clip the net to your leave out as well as a clip in the back just to hold everything down. Now, when it comes to sewing on the net, you want to go under your braid because you're sewing onto your perimeter braid. And it's also important to knot the thread every 3 to 4 stitches because it helps to secure the track. And you do this by wrapping the thread around the needle about 2 to 3 times. Now, the point of the net and why we need one is because we want to have less tension on our hair, which is also why in the beginning of the tutorial I told you do not have to be the best at braiding because most of the sewing is going to be done on the net, which is why the perimeter braids had to be so nice, small, and sturdy so that we can have a nice solid braid to sew the net onto. So you're just going to sew that around the full perimeter of your head until you get to the front. And once we start getting towards the leave out, we have to shift our technique just a little bit. So because our head is round and the net is squared and one-dimensional, it's not going to lay completely flat to our head. So what you want to do is fold it over and hold it down flat and sew. It is okay if the net isn't flat or if it's bunched up like you see here anywhere else on the head, but the net needs to be nice and flat around the leave out. So with every stitch, you need to be wrapping the thread around the needle at least once. And of course, like I mentioned, for knotting it, you wrap the thread around the needle about 2 to 3 times. And you want to create a knot every about 3 to 4 stitches. So again, one wrap around the needle every stitching, and then for knotting it you want to wrap 2 to 3 times. And once you are done with that, this is how your foundation for your sewing is, and you have just finished the first half of the tutorial. Everything else is going to be easy breezy beautiful because you're a cover girl. And yeah, let's jump right into the next half. So you want to start by sewing your first weft around your entire perimeter. This is going to allow the hair to fall forward, so as it grows out, it's easy to blend your leave out, and it just allows for a more fuller and more seamless install. Now, you want to make sure you are knotting the needle right at the ends, and that's for every weft. The ends of every weft, you should be knotting the ends a couple of times, but also every stitch you should be wrapping the thread around the needle once to just secure it, and every couple of stitching, so maybe like 3 or 4, you want to create a knot. Once you're finished sewing down your perimeter weft, you're just going to be sewing side to side until you reach the top of your leave out. And you're going to do this by flipping the wefts. Flipping and sewing the weft properly contributes to how flat your install is when pulled into a ponytail. If you are sewing double weft, take the bottom weft only and continue to sew about 1 to 2 stitches more. Doing this helps the weft lay flat and not be as bulky because you're only folding a single weft. It also releases tension around the perimeter of the install because it won't have the weight of 2 wefts. Now, this will take time to master, but it does yield better results than flipping double wefts. So, then you're going to bring your needle above to where you'll be sewing the next weft or rethread if needed. Flip both wefts over and hold down where they meet and begin to sew. Now, your wefts are going to switch positions. The bottom weft that we continue to sew will now become the top weft, and you want to sew that down first. Then the other weft where you flip. This keeps the install from looking bulky. You are almost to the finish line. Now, for this last weft, you want to single it because it's going to be the closest to your leave out. That's going to allow for it to lay flat and seamless, and it's just going to help with the longevity of the install. Now, when you are threading this, you want to pull the needle towards the leave out. That way it brings the weft closer and you won't have any gapping from your leave out to the weft. This also helps with blending your leave out because it is easier to cover a single weft than it is a double weft because of the thickness. So as we come to a close, here are 2 more pro tips. 1, make several knots on the ends of each row. And 2, keep your hair density in mind when parting for leave out and braids. And we are done. You should have a seamless, natural install where you can tuck your hair behind your ear and pull into a ponytail and it still be flat and natural. And thank you again